Spooky, scary,
Oh.
vampire bar mitzvah. Hey, welcome to the Literary AF. My name is Sheldon,
I'm Danny.
and we're here today to talk to you about,
Books.
specifically a book with vampires in it,
Yeah.
which is why that song parody at the beginning was
Right.
not just completely out of nowhere. It was grounded in,
Reality.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so the name of our book is
Midnight Sun.
That is the
Twilight from Edward's Perspective, written by Stephanie Meyer. This is episode 2.
The Queen is back. She never misses.
Yeah.
That was a less than enthusiastic agreement.
I'm tired. I've read 207. I was planning on reading 400 pages so I could do today's episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to 270 and I'm like, I need to go do something else now. I need to take a break.
Awesome.
So that's where I'm at.
That's usually the sign of a very good book.
Yeah.
When you simply have to put it down because you need a break.
I need to put it down because I gotta go do something else now.
You know, there's those average books where it's like, oh, I couldn't put it down. It was great. But the true greats are like,
I have to go put this down now.
I can't read more than 100 pages of this in a day. What's crazy? What's wrong with you?
I read 200 pages today. So there's progress. Just not as much progress as I wanted to make.
Yeah.
I've been reading it in very small chunks because I'm tired, frankly.
Well, that's a very... Okay, so let's do like a super quick sum up of the last one to catch people up.
So Edward is a vampire.
Yep.
And he lives in a town called Forks in Washington.
Yeah.
And everything's cool. He lives there with his 2 brothers, his 2 sisters, and his air quotations mom and dad.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this new girl shows up named Bella from Arizona, and she's super cool, and everybody loves her, and she's mysterious. And
she smells good, and Edward wants to eat her.
And Edward will literally kill her if he's alone with her for more than 2 seconds.
And everyone else in the room.
And everyone else in the room. Yeah, that was the big thing for the last episode was the sequence where Edward is like, I'm just going to have to kill her, I guess. Yeah. And then I'll kill this entire biology class. And, well, if anybody gets out of the classroom, I guess I'll have to kill everybody in the school. Well, it reminds me of, I guess, from, like, Rick and Morty. Well, here I go killing again.
Oh, shucks.
I forget where we left off last time.
Had the thing in the parking lot had happened, right?
Yeah, she almost got killed by the car, and then Edward saved her. Oh yeah, that was shortly after, because then he went home after, and his siblings were mad at him, and Alice was like, yeah, I can see the future, and I either see you killing Bella, or she turns into a vampire, and she's like one of us. And that's where I stopped. And I read some more a couple days later, and then I read some more today.
They should write Twilight without Edward, and it's just like an angsty story about a teen who like is forced to move away from her mom to live with her estranged father, and she really doesn't like it, and then she gets hit by a van and dies
and
within the first
gets crushed by a van within
couple weeks of school.
Oh no!
It'd be
End
like
of the book.
One of those like super sad YA novels.
Listen, man, I read these what were they called? They're written by somebody named Lurleen McDaniel.
Okay.
And they were these YA books that were just about kids dying. Like, that was the whole story.
Awesome.
They were like, this kid, she gets cancer and she has to go to the hospital where she meets another kid who is also sick.
Mm-hmm.
And they fall in love. And then he dies in a motorcycle accident. And he donates his organs, and she gets them, and then she's fine, and she's alive, and he's dead, and that's the end of the book.
Okay, so back in the day, I used to read a lot of Wattpad stories.
Okay.
Before that site was super fanficky.
Yeah.
And honestly, 3/4 of the stories you'd find, so half the stories were either some sort of paranormal romance, where it's like a weird paranormal thing, like, ooh, this girl's in love with a frost giant, or else it was 100%... like teen melodrama of I have cancer and you have cancer and your dad, he's got cancer.
It's just John Green books. Cancer kids fall in love, basically. I can't read those.
The best subgenre of literature. Cancer kids fall in love.
Yeah. Oh, I hate them. I don't hate this book. I don't hate it.
You sound less enthusiastic than last time, though.
I am, because now it's into the part where Edward's like, oh, I'm in love with Bella, and oh, Bella's in love with me, and now I'm just tired. It was fun when Edward was like...
a bit of a psycho?
A psychopath. Yeah. He's still a psychopath. But now it's just like monotonous psychopath.
Stephanie knows how to write the male mind so well. He's in love, but he wants to murder a lot of people.
Yeah. He's in love with Bella, and Bella's in love with him, and
so then what happens post his talk with Alice and them?
I'm trying to remember now.
I actually don't even remember from the original story what happens after that point.
Book, yeah. I remember what happens with Bella is she ends up going to La Push.
Where she meets
Jacob Black.
Team Jacob, yeah.
Just the whole team.
That's the Werewolf Pack's unofficial name.
The Team Jacobs. Yeah, Bella goes to La Push. Edward is kind of just sulking around most of the time.
I actually thought, like, Stephanie would try to do something interesting with that. Like, Edward would be trying to spy on them but couldn't get in because of the treaty or whatever. Like, I thought they'd do
he
like
just
a
lets
whole
her
thing.
go. He lets her go, and he's like, I hope she doesn't, like, kill herself while she's out of my vision. And she comes back, like, 2 days later with scrapes on her hands, and he's like, I guess she fell down again. That's a whole thing that I'm gonna get into right away, is Bella and her clumsiness.
Too clumsy to live.
It's worse. It's worse in this book. Like, I don't know how, but it's even worse now.
Oh. I have a thought, but I feel like I should save it for later.
Alright. We'll put a pin in it. We'll come back to this after.
Okay.
So yeah, Edward basically just broods around a whole lot. Okay. I can't even remember what happens in the downtime between then and now. He spends a lot of time just... He's not paying attention to Bella, but he's, like, reading the minds of everybody around Bella, so he's still just, like, watching her from a distance.
That's, like, a really weird form of stalking, but...
It absolutely is. He'll be, like, sitting in his math class or whatever, and he will be, like, reading the minds of all the people in Bella's class, where she's across the school or whatever, and he's just, like, watching her all day through the eyes of everybody else. And that's just his school day now.
Well, I mean, what could you expect from the guy who used to hang out in her bedroom every night?
Oh, we're getting to that, because that's coming up.
Oh, yes.
And then, yeah, So, I guess we're gonna get into Bella's clumsiness now. She is ridiculous, and just, like, she'll be walking across a flat surface, and she will trip and fall.
Perfect.
This, like, actually comes up in the book. She's walking across, like, the hardwood floors of the gym, which is, like, a smooth surface, and she trips and falls and gets hurt. And the car almost crushes her, and she just, like... is constantly getting into trouble in some way because of how clumsy she is or how unlucky she is or just all of this. And it's to the point where, like, characters are talking about it in the book, just how clumsy she is. And it's I don't even know how to describe it.
So the other characters talking about it, do you think that's, like, Stephanie being, like, aware? Like, adding a bit of self-awareness into the book?
I don't think so, because it's just... It's so serious.
Okay. My second question. You know how in, like, a lot of, like, rom-coms and stuff, they always have to give the protagonist some kind of quirk or, like...
The negative trait that she's clumsy.
So that she's not perfect.
Yeah, is clumsiness? That's not a negative trait.
It's always clumsiness.
Yeah, that's...
Is that what... Do you feel like that's what they're doing in this book?
It's hinting at something more.
Oh, that she has, like, a condition?
It's hinting that, like... She's a magnet for bad things. Like, Edward keeps pointing out how it's like all these things are seeking her out, basically. She moves to live with her dad, and she basically gets put down beside a psychopath vampire as her classmate, like, immediately. Like, within a couple days of starting school, she almost gets crushed by a van. She is constantly getting hurt. She's constantly tripping and falling. Like, Edward is implying that fate is basically trying to kill Bella.
So, is it like she's being made into a damsel without having a clear, like, threat? Where it's just like the universe is turning her into a damsel in distress?
Yeah, basically everything is trying to kill Bella. And I don't know if it's
gym
just...
floor.
I don't know if it's just Edward's, like, narration, because it's his internal monologue, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just his narration that is thinking this, or if this is what the book is actually saying, but it's basically implying that the universe is just trying to kill Bella. And that's why all of these bad things are happening to her and why she's constantly getting hurt. It's just the universe wants to kill Bella.
Here's my theory. Bella is actually being the target of time travelers who are from the future, who have read the Twilight books and being like, we have to prevent this from happening.
We have to stop this right now.
They read Breaking Dawn and were like, listen, we can't let this happen.
And like this, the universe trying to kill Bella, Edward has like made it his job to protect her, which is why he starts sneaking into her room.
Oh.
Because he's like, anything could happen. Somebody could break into her house and kill her. Or there could be a bear in the woods behind her house. I should be there to protect her.
She tosses and turns and manages to fold her sheet up like a noose
around her neck, and then she just strangles herself in bed and dies. Yeah. And he, like, this happens before Bella is even aware of it. He is spending nights in her room, like, weeks before she realizes it. He was in there constantly.
Okay, so when we did the first part,
yeah,
like, a huge thing was that he couldn't be around her because of the smell.
Right.
So it seems like that's been forgotten, or
no,
just like...
it's still, he talks about it all the time.
Great.
Yeah. He's he just doesn't breathe around her, basically. He holds his breath so he doesn't have to breathe in her smell.
Working 8 hours at the Swan House. Gotta go hold my breath.
Hold his breath the whole time. And yeah, he's coming into her room at night. She's not even aware of it at this point. Like, they have just met and have had like 2 interactions with each other, and he's already sitting in her room overnight. And then he leaves before she wakes up. And she has no idea. And he, like, stalks the woods around her house. And he, like... There's a point where he, like, catches her scent. Okay. And he just follows it through the woods. And he's like, oh, she went out here and she, I don't know, fell down. Because I guess she hit the ground. He could smell that her scent went down. And then she, like... ended up laying on a blanket reading books. He watched her...
Wait, that's a part in the first book.
That is, I was going to mention that, yeah. There's a scene in the first book where she's laying on a blanket reading Jane Austen novels. Oh. And you get that from Edward's point of view. Turns out he was in the woods watching her the whole time she was there.
Like, reading over her shoulder so she could insert some Jane Austen.
Yeah, like... The thing I've learned in this book is that Edward was actually there the whole time. Anytime Bella is by herself in Twilight, Edward is actually probably right there, watching her. Okay,
so now this for me raises a new question.
Yep.
Did Stephanie originally have that in her mind? Or is it just like a lack of creativity when writing this book of like, okay, well, what should Edward do now? Well, what did Bella do? He's just there watching her. Like,
I don't know. I feel like she may have planned this, because she was writing Midnight Sun back when Twilight was coming out, right?
Was she?
Like, when Breaking Dawn came out, she was...
I don't remember.
Already writing it, like...
Was that the book that got leaked?
Midnight Sun was the book that got leaked.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was, like, shortly after the series concluded, right? So...
I thought it was the Jacob Renesmee spin-off that got
No, that's
leaked.
not a thing. Not yet. I assume that will be a thing eventually.
Oh,
but
please.
The thing that got leaked was the manuscript for this book.
Maybe the time travelers are trying to prevent that one from coming out.
I forget where I was going with that.
Out in the woods reading Jane Austen.
Yeah, basically Edward is just always there, and it's really creepy.
Perfect.
And tying into like what you just asked, actually, there's a point where you remember Bella's friends.
Yeah.
There's Angela, who's like the really nice one.
Which one's Anna Kendrick?
Was Anna Kendrick the nice one or the mean one?
I never watched the movies.
Oh, alright. Well, Bella has 2 friends, basically. She's got Jessica, who is the mean one, and she's got Angela, who is the nice one. And there's a point where Edward is like, I owe Angela a favor for being nice to Bella, because Angela's the only nice person to Bella. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is superficial, which I'm also going to get into right away. I have a complaint about this, so I'm coming back to this again. To continue on this train of thought, though, Edward is like, well, Angela was nice to Bella, so I owe Angela some kind of favor, so I'm going to buy her something nice. I'll see what she wants.
Okay.
And she doesn't really want anything. Like, he spends the day reading her mind, trying to figure out what she wants so he can surprise her with it.
Amazing.
And he ends up finding out that she has a crush on this guy named Ben. And he actually ends up, like, he does a thing with Emmett where he's like, yeah, you know, are you gonna ask out Angela? Like, they try to, I guess, plant this idea in Ben's mind.
Okay.
So that, because Ben kind of likes Angela too, and he goes like, well, no, I'm gonna ask out Angela before Edward can do it then. And he kind of hooks them up. And then, if I remember correctly, Angela and Ben are actually, like, together all the way to the end of Breaking Dawn.
Okay.
So they, like, I don't know.
So it's all through Edward's manipulation.
Yeah. Apparently it was all Edward's manipulation that did that. And I don't know if, like, maybe she planned that from the start, or if she just thought it would be, like, a fun thing to throw in.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. Anyways, I have a complaint.
Okay, time for the airing of grievances.
One of many. Let me pull up my Twitter thread. I've been making a Twitter thread of assorted things that come to my mind while I've been reading this book.
Mm-hmm.
And, alright. Well, first off, Edward, it talks about how he used to be a vigilante. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode.
No, you didn't, but you texted me that this morning,
right.
And I was intrigued.
So, Edward, when he was eating people, killing people, drinking their blood,
mm-hmm.
he used to, like, Dexter people, basically.
Okay.
He would go out and he would kill all of the bad people and drink their blood. And he's just like Batman, I guess. But also Robert Pattinson is going to be playing Batman in that movie next year, so, you know, connection maybe?
Oh no.
But here's my actual complaint. Being in Edward's point of view, you get to see all of the side characters, like, internal monologues.
Okay.
And every female character, except for Angela, just absolutely loathes Bella because she exists. Like, that's all you get out of any female character is Bella's terrible. And the scene where Edward saves Bella from those rapists and then takes her to that restaurant, do you remember?
I absolutely remember that, yeah.
You get the hostess's internal monologue.
Okay. And
she's like, wow, this guy's so hot. He must be here with his sister because there's no way he's dating this girl. And she, like, the whole time is just, yeah, this guy must be dating, he can't be dating this girl because he's so hot. I'm gonna give him my number. Oh, he's asking for a private booth just for the two of them. Why would he want that with his sister? Like, she's just straight up denial. And then she ends up giving him her number at the end of the night. And, like, I don't know if Stephanie Meyer thinks that this is how women perceive each other. Is just like... Yeah,
I was getting some
hotness is a competition? I don't know.
I was getting some major men writing women vibes from this section.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait, Stephanie Meyer.
I don't know if this is, like, how she perceives other women is, like...
Is that how she thinks about other women?
I don't know if it's how she thinks about other women or if it's maybe how her friends talk about other women. It's just, like, I have female friends and at no point have we ever been like that. Like, I don't know. And it kind of conflicts with, like... What did I write here? It makes me believe that Meyer thinks that most girls simply hate each other for being attractive, or that we just, like, cannot appreciate that another girl is hot. Mm-hmm. Like, if she's hot, clearly there must be some kind of something wrong.
Yeah.
And this also conflicts with, like, when you get the men's point of view, they're all in love with Bella. Like, she's just so cool, she's so hot.
Of course.
So you have all of the female characters who are like, Bella's terrible, she's so plain, and nobody likes her, and she's awful. And then you get all the male point of views, which is like, oh, Bella's so cool, she's so hot. Everybody wants to date Bella. And it's just... It's weird.
Well, okay, I'm thinking about this. Like, writing, when you're writing a book from like from one person's perspective,
Yeah.
you can forgive a lot of those little mistakes just by being like, oh, it's this one character. That's how this character is.
Yeah.
This character is just like kind of a vindictive loser.
Yeah, yeah.
But then
Well, you're getting it from everybody.
every perspective.
Every perspective.
Like, that is such a like Herculean task, is to try to write the thoughts of every side character in a book.
But they're all the same is the problem.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, is like, I feel like you'd have to be like the best author of all time. And I mean, Stephanie's close. But like, how can you write every single perspective and have them sound unique?
It doesn't even need to be unique. They just... Why does everybody hate Bella? Because she exists.
Well, yeah, she has default girl perspective, hate Bella. Default guy perspective,
Bella's
like
super
Bella.
hot. Yeah, that's it. And it I don't know. It's really polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
It sends a lot of mixed messages, really. Because 1 second people are like, "Oh, Bella sucks," and then the next second everybody's like, "Oh, Bella's the best."
Yeah,
It's
she's
just,
rad.
it's odd, I guess. What else happens?
All right. So wait. So does the attempted rape happen in this section? Oh yeah, you already described the waitress.
Yeah,
but
it happens before this. This is where I was going next.
Okay.
I was gonna jump back because I went off on a tangent here. So Bella ends up going to Port Angeles with Jessica and Angela,
mm-hmm.
and in Twilight, you are with Bella as she breaks off from her group. She wants to go to a bookstore to find a book about vampires. And then she ends up wandering down a back alley. She gets kind of lost. And then she gets approached by a group of dudes. From Edward's perspective, he heads to Port Angeles solely to follow Bella.
Of course.
He is stalking her through the streets of Port Angeles. It talks about how he reads the minds of all the passersby to try to find her.
Yeah.
When she splits off from Angela and Jessica.
Okay.
So he like follows her to a bookstore, and then he follows her in another direction, and then when the sun gets down low enough, he gets out of the car and he just follows her scent down the street. And then he hears the thoughts of the rapist, and then he knows where she is. And he takes off in his car, and he saves Bella, and then they go to the restaurant. And I guess there's a whole thing about this head rapist in this group. The main guy is apparently a rapist and a murderer. And, like, just a complete sociopath. You get a lot of this. This is a huge thing. And Edward is extremely conflicted. Because he's like, well, I need to make sure Bella is safe. Also, I should go murder the hell out of this guy. I need to torture this guy and kill this guy because he's a bad person and he was going to hurt Bella. So I should go torture him. And Edward is, like, torn between, hanging out with the hot girl or gonna go commit a murder.
Dude problems. Am I right, guys?
Eventually, he ends up hanging out with Bella instead. And, he goes to Carlisle after.
Yeah. And
he tells Carlisle what happened. And he takes Carlisle to go find the murderer. And Carlisle, like, drugs the guy and puts him in front of the police station. And then he gets caught and he gets arrested, and then that's like the solution to that story, is he goes to jail. It was a weird aside. It was a whole thing.
Oh man, like when you're talking about him like searching the streets, like and like trying to follow her,
mm-hmm.
and like to me that like makes me feel like this kind of robs some of the mystery out of like Twilight. Because when Edward shows up in that scene, it's like...
Where'd he come from? Why is he there?
It's like a big moment.
Yeah. No, now you're seeing the other perspective of him sneaking around, like, down dark alleys trying to find her.
That'd be like if in the first Spider-Man movie, when he saves Mary Jane from those guys in the back alley...
Yeah.
If, like, they had preceded that with 15 minutes of him just, like, stalking her around the streets.
Yeah, that's... yeah. In Twilight, he's like mysterious and cool, and like you don't know what's going on in his head, and why is he showing up. He's kind of cool and weird, but hot. And in his book, he's just creeping after her the whole time. Yeah. He is like looking in her bedroom window at night. He's following her around the woods when she can't see him. He is following her into other cities solely to watch her.
See, this transitions really well into that thought that I had earlier. Like, maybe Twilight was not the best pick to do this from.
Mm.
What about the next book, New Moon? Because Edward has gone through most of New Moon.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see, like,
what he was actually
what
doing.
he was actually up to, what was going on in Italy. Like, all that stuff could have been really cool, and maybe have, like the first Twilight book is, like, a shorter thing at the beginning, and then, like, the main part of the book is, like, the where was Edward during this time? And then, like, when they meet back up, it's kind of like, like, have the ending through that. But just Twilight, it seems like a lot of it is just like, okay, well, I got to follow Bella now. Better see what Bella's up to.
Yeah.
Better walk through the woods and try to smell where Bella was. Like,
yeah, it's... And the thing is, like, I don't know if she's doing the other books from Edward's perspective. Because, like, I read an article where she talked about how she had 3 books she wanted to write in the Twilight universe.
Yeah.
And this was one of them. So that means there's 2 books left that she wants to write in the Twilight universe. And I assume one is going to be Jacob and Renesmee.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't know what the other one is going to be, but I assume it's not going to be New Moon from Twilight's perspective. Or from Edward. from Edward's perspective.
The second book from the first book's perspective.
I'm tired.
That'd be a fun little adaptation.
Ah.
All right. What else we got going on in this book? Is that how far did you get?
I'm 260 something pages in, and like I said, I had to take a break.
No, but I mean like storyline wise. Like, is this how far you got, or was there more?
I got to a little bit further. Edward and Bella spent the next couple days like hanging out, being cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're about to do that scene where they sneak off into the woods and skip class.
Of course.
And do the run through the trees, and then she gets to see him sparkle.
Of course.
That should be coming up in the next, like, 30, 40 pages, I think.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
So they're kind of together now, right?
They're,
like, sort of?
Yeah. Bella was like, so... are we dating? What is this? And Edward's like, well, I guess that's up to you to answer that question. Because Jessica was going to grill her about it when they were in class together. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know. What's your answer? And then walked away. And Bella was like, yeah, I guess so.
Amazing.
I think I forgot to mention this last time.
Yeah.
There is like a different... I wasn't expecting this. What's his name? Charlie?
Yeah.
Bella's dad. Edward can't read his thoughts very well.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't remember if I mentioned this in the last episode.
I feel like you might have briefly mentioned it.
Okay. Well, apparently Edward can like hear his thoughts.
Okay.
But he can't interpret like their tone. Like he only gets half of the picture through her father's thoughts.
Okay.
Which I thought was an interesting change.
Yeah.
I assume when we meet Bella's mother, it'll be like the other half to that. Oh, he can't hear part of her thoughts either.
Yeah, I was.
And then these 2 people came together, and now Bella, he can't hear any of her thoughts for some reason. I don't know.
That is the one thing about Twilight that I always forget is how the vampires all have superpowers.
Most of them have superpowers.
They all have like some X-Men ability. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else I had to mention here. I guess we're not going to see any of Jacob in this book. Which, I guess...
Yeah, I can't remember if they run into each other at all in the first book.
I don't think so. Because I know there's a point where Jacob approaches Bella while she's on campus to be like, hey, you should stay away from him.
Yeah.
But I think that's after New Moon. Or during New Moon. I think his part's basically done for the book. Which, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen some interaction between him and Edward, I guess.
Yeah, same here.
Let me see. There's a point where Edward talks about, like, he's jealous of Mike, because Mike is, like, his main competition or whatever. And he talks about, like, backhanding him. And he says something like, I could backhand him and it probably wouldn't kill him. Like, he's just... I could kill this guy, I guess.
I remember him having issues with Mike, too, in the actual books.
Yeah.
But
I'll see if I can find... Because I saved a couple pictures of sections that I thought were interesting, and I just didn't actually mark what parts I wanted to read here. There was something about Mike. If I just scroll through my pictures real quick. I like Stephanie Meyer has improved as a writer.
Okay.
Everything it sounds better. It's more coherent, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a part that I actually really liked where Edward is kind of coming to terms with his feelings for Bella.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the way these were written. I thought they were very good.
Yeah.
So I saved it, and I can read it to you now, and you can just kind of compare it to how remember that scene from the first book where Bella went to go turn on her computer
to her favorite web browser.
Yeah.
It's always or her favorite search engine.
All right. It was my life is an unending, unchanging midnight. It must, by necessity, always be midnight for me. So how is it possible that the sun was rising now, in the middle of my midnight? At the time I became a vampire, trading my soul and my morality for immortality in a searing pain of transformation, I had truly been frozen. My body had turned into something more like stone than flesh, enduring and unchanging. Myself also had frozen as it was. My personality, my likes, my dislikes, my moods and desires were all fixed in place. It was the same for the rest of them. We were all frozen, living stone. When the change came for one of us, it was a rare and permanent thing. I had seen it happen with Carlisle, and then a decade later with Rosalie. Love had changed them in an eternal way, a way that would never fade. More than 80 years had passed since Carlisle found Esme, and yet he still looked at her with the incredulous eyes of first love. It would always be so for them. It would always be so for me, too. I would always love this fragile human girl for the rest of my limitless existence. Which I thought was a very nicely written paragraph, and was just a surprise. When I remember how Twilight used to be, basically. So, let me see if I can find where he threatens backhand Mike real. Mike was working up his nerve as he walked Bella to biology. I listened to his struggles as I waited for them to arrive. The boy was weak. He had waited for this dance purposely, afraid to let his infatuation be known before she showed a marked preference for him. He didn't want to make himself vulnerable to rejection, preferring that she take the leap first. Coward. Oh, something. Mike asking Bella to the dance. And then, whoop. I gave up. It's just, I don't know. It was fun when Edward was kind of insane. Mm-hmm. And it's less fun now that he and Bella are a couple. And it's just oh, I love you, and oh, she loves me, and there's 400 more pages to go.
Amazing.
So, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I know what's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to get through it. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, great.
Keep chugging along, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's a cheerful note to end on.
I'll finish it.
Yeah.
But my excitement has waned.
Hopefully he'll go psycho mode and try to kill a bunch of kids again.
Yeah, we'll see. To
liven things up.
I'm looking forward to the end conflict. I hope we get to see what actually happens in the end conflict.
That would be so good.
If that conflict comes and goes from Edward not being there, I'm gonna be really upset. If that just gets skipped over again. Yeah. I'm going to be really upset.
Edward also got knocked out right away.
He immediately got knocked out, and he also spent the whole fight unconscious.
Oh, what if it's what if the last 200 pages is just that fight, and Edward's going blood crazy and
I'd be totally into that. Are you kidding? That would redeem the whole book. I'd be so into it. Give me psychopathic Edward. I'm here.
Let's hope for it. All right. Danni, where can people find us?
People can find us on Facebook, Literary AF. You can find us on Twitter, LiteraryAFPod. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Podbean, and Audible, Literary AF. And you can send us an email, literaryafpod@gmail.com.
You know what? Don't send us an email. I've changed my mind. No. I no longer want any emails. Everything else is good. Leave us comments, whatever. But just do not send an email. All right, well, next week, I'm not 100% sure what we're going to be doing. Either part 3 of this, or I'm going to read some book. Yeah. I don't know what I'm reading yet. Yeah. But hopefully something.
No, we'll figure something out.
And, hey, you out there, you listening, make sure you read that. What do I normally say? I can't even remember.
I don't even remember anymore. I'm so tired. This book has trained me completely.
I think it's like keep on reading.
This book is like a vampire. What?